the assemble and disassemble commands are used to create or remove assembly structures. Generally, any manufactured product is part of an assembly. If you have a car door, the door itself might be an assembly and the whole car might be an assembly. And that door itself might have lots of individual parts inside its assembly, but it all moves as one. You create assemblies so that you can better handle the data in the model. For example, here we have a portal frame subassembly and then a roof assembly. If we start drilling down further here, we have a pattern of this single frame assembly. Assemblies are used for better organizing things and copying things in the 3D scene. For example, you can link copy that entire assembly. They're also used to help create drawings, so we can create a drawing of just one assembly. It's worth noting that IronCAD handles assemblies different to traditional CAD software, in that in IronCAD you can create as many assemblies as you like in the same file. You don't have to create separate parts and then assemble them later on. For example, let's open up a new empty scene here, and we'll just drag and drop in a few random parts. So we've now got two parts there. If we want to assemble them, we can just hold down the Shift key and then click on Assemble. Note I won't click it just yet because I'll also show you that you can right click whenever you've selected multiple things and select Assemble in the right click menu as well. And disassemble if you can disassemble what you have there if it is an assembly. So you can see I can select Assemble, I can right click and select Disassemble, which is the same as selecting Assemble up here. Now let's go back into our other model here. So you can see an assembly is just a way of storing multiple parts. So it stores them together as a combined group, and you can still drill down and see the parts that make up those assemblies. But it makes it easier to copy things around. For example, we could now select our entire portal frame assembly here and create a copy right next to it. And now we're copying all of the items in that assembly and linking them over here. That's a lot faster than if we had to go in and select every single individual part here and then copy every single individual part. We can just select the assembly. For now, I'll delete that and I'll show you how assemblies work in the 2D drawing as well. Because in IronCAD you can design all of your parts in the same file, you can also do a drawing from just the one file. So if we select on standard views to create a new view here, you can see we have our model currently using the full assembly. So if we create a top front right view here and hit OK, we can see we get a top front right view of our entire model there. And this might be our first sheet. We may add a bill of materials or something like that to list all of the cut lengths and angles of the steels. Then we might add another sheet here. We'll go up to New Sheet, and that'll add a second sheet in. I'll use the default template I have here. Now we have Sheet 2, and in Sheet 2 I'm actually going to add a view just of one of our frames. So I'm going to select here onto this Select Part / Assembly to project, and now I'm going to go in and select a specific frame. So I'm going to go in and select this portal frame assembly, hit Apply, and now you can see that here, that we're now just showing that one assembly. And we'll do a front view of this one, and hit OK. I'll hit the arrow keys on my keyboard to increase that size, and as you can see we now have just a front view of that single assembly, as opposed to the entire model. We could do the same with an individual part, and of course we could dimension this if we'd like to. Just like that. We could do this same thing with an individual part. So I'm going to create a new sheet here again. Note, of course, we could be naming these sheets if we'd like to. I might rename this one to, let's call this one base plate. And now, as is probably obvious by the name, I'm going to create a drawing of the base plate. Note I haven't needed to open any separate files. I'm all working from the same 3D assembly file. So now I'll just go ahead here and find our base plate. So I'm going to drill down through our assemblies here, and we can see we've got this plate. No, it'll be in the column assembly. And we'll use this as our base plate, I think. Have a quick look. And nope, that's not the base plate actually. I should have done a little bit better naming of our of my model here. There you can see the base plate. I've actually just got it called part 12. And I'm going to do a view of that base plate using the front view here. So now we have a simple view of that individual part created from the entire model. So we have the entire assembly there, but we're just drilling down to the part to create a drawing of that individual part from the assembly. But as you can see, having assemblies in your model allows you to better handle multiple types of data in your model. For example, when you have an individual frame making up the rest of the model, you can actually then create a drawing of that individual frame very easily, instead of having to either select the individual parts or only do a drawing of the entire model. You can very easily separate it into different useful parts. That's how to use the assemble and disassemble commands.